Remember when you first started getting gigs? You were like, yay, gigs! You probably thought it's all donuts from here. You imagined private jets, bottle service, and expense accounts. Until one day, fired. But how could this happen? I thought it was a beautiful friendship. I thought we were making beautiful music to... Nope. Fired. It can be tough when the cold, hard hand of reality slaps you in the face. And sometimes we try to bargain. Well, what if I just play quieter and don't hit on your girlfriend? Then we try to rationalize. Well, maybe I was too avant-garde for this 2-bit town. But eventually we have to accept reality. I suck. But take comfort, because we've all been there. Everything good comes to an end. I mean, doesn't it? I've heard people say, many good things come to an end. And looking back on our firings, some of them make pretty good stories. Like the time this one guy in the comments asked, oh wait, did you want to know what the actual stories were? Well, this is YouTube. You gotta watch the video. Or just drag my cursor along the timeline looking for the black screen so I can just skip to the... Hey, no cheating. Anyway, in today's video, top 10 ways to get fired from a gig. 5 from my own life and 5 from friends of the channel. And number 4 truly, honestly might get you thrown in jail. God, you guys with the clickbait accusations. If you have a deadly tiger and you're doing tricks with him, are you gonna say a study in feline kinetics? No, you're gonna say man-eating tiger. Oh, that's clickbait. Fine. If a video that actually delivers the outrageous thing it promises is your definition of clickbait, you can get off the 80/20 bus right now. Telling me what's clickbait. You just keep waking up free every morning, I'll do what I do. Anyway, in all seriousness, stay tuned. Number 1, offset experimentation 1. If you're ever on a gig you're not feeling, but you want to avoid an awkward conversation, I recommend doing this. And really sell it too, like look right at the band leader with a toothy grin. No, not like that. You have to act like you think they're really gonna dig this. So you wanna kinda who me look in your eyes. Like a terrified chihuahua you just offered a dish of chicken wings to. You want one eyebrow kinda cooked like, was that okay? I guarantee this will work if you keep doing it. Unless you're Vinny. Vinny was trying to get fired from a gig and it seriously backfired. It should come as no surprise that playing too loud was one of the top reasons people in my comments had gotten their asses sacked. I love how the second guy put too loud in scare quotes, like, says you, bro. Anyway, this is going to be a recurring theme in this video, but in a lot of paid situations, we're there as background music. When we're first starting out, yeah, we'll play shows at Arlene's Grocery, but those are bringer shows. And sure, you can play whatever you want, but if somebody's paying you, by and large, it's because you're creating an atmosphere for their cocktail party. So keep it down. Which reminds me, number 3, bringing an avant-garde quintet to a cocktail gig. This feels like a Gen X/millennial thing. Anyway, for viewers not familiar with jazz, some jazz sounds like this. And some jazz sounds like this. When someone hires you to play at a cocktail party, 100% of the time, they're expecting this. And it's so quintessentially millennial to be like, no bro, I'm gonna educate you about the real jazz. Also, 100% respect to this guy. He died doing what he loved. Now that's a goddamn American. He might be European, I don't care if he's actually American or not. It just has American written all over it. Maybe he should run for president. You sure couldn't do much worse than... Sorry, I will keep it apolitical. Moving right along, we've got number 4, legit might get you jailed in the wrong company. I asked jokingly if the rehearsal spot was within 1,000 yards of a school. The band said that my sense of humor wasn't a good fit, and canceled my audition. Some jokes are worth risking jail time, and this is definitely one of them. I love how he's careful to specify jokingly in the comment. Should I hop on my soapbox about how we need to be able to flirt with danger in order to have robust boundaries? And comedians are the real truth tellers because you can't pretend Anthony Jeselnik's not funny if you're in the club and you laugh. Disclaimer, the 80/20 channel does not in any way condone... Yeah, bro, they get it. That's my lawyer. Number 5, offset experiment number 2. Okay, so there are some circumstances in which this might not be enough to get you fired. In those circumstances, you might have to pull out the big guns. You might have to pull out the Garska. Number 6, not looking rock star enough. First time was like, I didn't look rock star enough, but the singer sang out of key, but that's okay. Okay, for viewers not familiar with the record label hustle, this is actually really common. Here's how it usually goes. You got a buddy in music school or in some band you play in. He's got connections with somebody, usually a singer, who's either signed but backburnered or about to get signed to a major label. You do the audition, they like you. You play a few gigs, and this is important, usually you're the best player in the band. You might even be carrying these guys. Maybe you start writing some songs for them. Maybe you do a back of the van tour of the Deep South where you all bond. And probably you cover a lot of their expenses. Then at precisely the moment you get too invested in them, you play a showcase for the label, or a show with the label reps in the audience. Either immediately before or immediately after the gig, at precisely the moment it's going to blindside you maximally, the leader, or better yet, the leader's manager. And this is right after you and the leader smoked a bowl in the hot tub the night before and talked about the future. The manager sits you down and lets you know that nothing personal, they're going with somebody different. If you can stomach it, you lurk in the audience and watch the gig. And they've got someone who's 50% the drummer you are, but who looks like John Bon Jovi and is super theatrical with the playing. How do I know this story so well when it hasn't happened to me personally? I've watched a lot of VH1 Behind the Music, and also it's the entire plot of School of Rock. Moving right along to number 7, the bass player was fooling around with your girlfriend. I'm just gonna leave that there. Number 8, the band leader doesn't want to share any money. Okay, small commentary about this one. There's a certain breed of band leader whom we've all met if you've been doing music long enough. Usually, but not always, they're over 40. And they've been doing the same gig for like 25 years. And that gig is TGI Fridays in Schenectady. If you have a Saturday free, you get a call from somebody you met on a gig in New York City, so you spend however many hours to drive up there. You enter this guy's little kingdom. Or maybe it's the Wedding King of Suffolk County. And I've had a few of these gigs, and some of them are nice guys, but some of them are buddy riches. Ordering people around, yelling at band members during tunes, embarrassing them in front of the audience. And some can be pretty petty about money. I don't know this guy's story, but that's what this reminds me of. Okay, last to remind, because anybody who's stuck around this long is ready for some adult talk. No, not that kind of adult talk. I mean the decidedly unsexy business of the real, legitimate reasons we get fired from gigs. Not because the band leader is some crackpot or some 20-something Machiavelli with designs on major label success, but because we fucked up. So, number 9, not knowing the music. I'm reminded of J.P. Bouvet's video of when he subbed for Matt Halpern in Periphery.
I've got 4 days to learn the 40-minute set.
He crushed on that gig because he spent as much time as he had preparing for it. He invented ways to absorb the music faster. And here's the thing. When you spend some time preparing the music, it doesn't even have to be perfect. Many band leaders will be impressed with your efforts if you put any effort in at all, because let's be frank, the bar is pretty low. And it will make the rehearsal go well. I had an experience on the cruise ships when I hadn't looked at the music, because I thought I was super good at sight reading, but didn't realize there were a bunch of cues to memorize. And cues are the worst because you can't be looking at the music, so sight reading doesn't help you. Anyway, I had one of the worst rehearsals of my life, like Whiplash, except I knew everything was my fault. So I took that on board later when I recorded jazz drums on a classical album my friend Jasmine was producing. The music looked simple, but not only did I look over it, I practiced it with the recordings. When we actually went to record playing the book was a breeze, and the session was mostly a really fun experience. Finally, number 10, Having a shitty attitude. This is one of the most surprising ones for people who went to music school, who thought it was all about how well they could play, who maybe had a little ego, who maybe had some terrible role models for how to conduct themselves at a rehearsal or on a gig. The thing you realize quickly in a big scene is you are 100% replaceable. There's always a killer they can call instead of you. So having a good attitude is about being a good hang, always being positive, trying to lower the pressure on stage, being cool under pressure, being someone people can lean on psychologically. And I used to get frustrated if people made mistakes on gigs. I didn't realize until years later how much that was hurting me. But having a good attitude also means being unselfish with your playing. Yes, don't outshine the leader and don't play too many notes, everybody's heard that. But also, don't engage in battles of will with the bass player over where the tempo is. God, that's such a music school bad habit. They teach such a hyper focus on time that everybody thinks it's cool to vibe about it all the time. In reality, it's not. I always used to hear if you want to get better, you should play with better musicians, which is absolutely true. But the reverse is also true. The real measure of a skilled, mature musician is she can play with people weaker than she is and still bring them up to her level. As Kendrick Scott is doing in this clip. Yes, as I mentioned in my other clip, he's making the band sound better with his playing, but also look at the eye contact, look at the smiles. If somebody got lost, he'd gently and clearly help them find their place again, without putting them on the spot. If the bass player was rushing or dragging, he'd gently try to encourage proper timing by playing super clearly, but he'd also move his beat to accommodate the bass player, to make the band sound better. And Hazel, hope you enjoyed this one. And if you're looking for real life ways to retain your gig by playing better pocket, supporting the band better, having better ears, and just generally being more confident in your playing, have I got a suite of products for you. The practice course, the solo course, and the granddaddy of them all, the system I used to go from to a lot better in just 2 to 3 years. The coaching course, by the way, the coaching course will take you 6 months because it's distilled, it's concentrated. Anyway, we only open those up a couple times a year, and we only open them up to my exclusive mailing list. And if you'd like to get on that list, it's extremely easy. Just click the link below the player, enter your email in on the next page, and you'll be on the list. And what's more, I'll send you a bribe. I'll send you my 3-video mini course, which I assert will make your playing better in the next 3 weeks than it's gotten in the previous 6 months. Dude's been real. We had a good vibe with this one. I feel like we really connected. Was it there for you? It was there for me. Anyway, peace. Boom, that's my angle. Why do I have Christmas carols in my head?